All right, welcome back into Reiters Block, brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps. As we've been all week, we're in the madness of Radio Row here in Atlanta, Georgia, side of Super Bowl 53 on CBS. We got a great show planned for you. Deshaun Watson going to join me on the show. We'll dive into some of the greatest players to never win the big game and go inside the numbers on the youth behind some of the best Super Bowl moments. That starts and much more right now.
I think we've overcome a lot this year, down but not out.
It's in his DNA. There's a clutch gene. He's got it.
And we certainly have a respect for that experience that the Patriots specifically have. We've got some guys on our team that do have that experience, but we've also got some really good football players that you feel like no moment is too big for them.
There's no one I would rather have in a 2-minute drive than number 12.
Great job of winning one-on-ones, hitting blocks up front. I think they're, really playing with violence. And any time that you can try to move the quarterback off of his spot, whether that's interior or edge pressure, just being able to force them to move where they're not able to just set their feet and work in rhythm. Certainly easier said than done, but that's going to be a key to try to, get him off of his rhythm, which not many people have success doing.
These guys really, they earned it. They deserve it, and they earned it.
What travels is running the ball, playing tough.
Going forward against the LA Rams, you're going to have contributions from everyone. This is a Super Bowl that we're going to be playing in. It's the toughest game of the year. It's the do or die.
Ready to go. It'll be fun. I'm excited. Again, like I said, it's something that you dream about, you work for. Even before this year, you're constantly thinking about this game and constantly thinking about getting to this game and having a chance to play in this game. And now we have it. Now we have a chance to be world champions and have to prepare our best and get ready to go out there.
I'm not going to lie to you. I am so pumped about this game. It is going to be amazing. But it's easy to get lost in all the hoopla and the lights and the excitement and the people walking around Radio Row and just the excitement of this moment. This is hard to get to. You can take this for granted. And the Patriots have added to this sense of certainty when it comes to most of our Super Bowl experiences. As we've talked about here on the show, every other year of his career, on average, Brady and Belichick together have been in this game. It's absurd. It's silly. It'll be 9 times on Sunday when kickoff starts, Super Bowl 53 on CBS. That's not normal. If you're Todd Gurley, if you're Jared Goff, I know his career arc is longer as a coach. If you're Sean McVay, even Sony Michel on the Patriots side, do not take this moment for granted. Do not assume, especially the younger guys, because you're here now, that your career is going to unfold with the same kind of opportunity. It may not. It hasn't in the past. Ask Dan Marino, youngest quarterback to ever play in the Super Bowl in his second season. 15-year drought followed. Never got back, never won the big one. Don't forget about Boomer Esiason, our colleague here. Got there, in his, 5th year. Never went back. 9-year drought. Steve Smith, early on, 3rd season. Never went back. 13-year drought. There are some greats who are walking reminders, touchdowns for some of these young guys to take this in and not presume because you got here early, you're going to get here again. We'll start with Marino, because there's an argument for Dan Marino, even in the Tom Brady age, as the greatest or maybe most talented QB of all time. And for most people, including me, he doesn't come out on top of that argument because he never won the big one. And the guy was an absolute and total stud. In fact, there are walking reminders everywhere at Radio Row. We talked about the McCourty brothers, right? And the fact that both these guys are going up against each other. But Jason knows what it's like and how quickly you can be on the other side of the equation. Not that long ago, he was on an 0-16 team. I think he's got the right perspective for these young players. Don't take anything for granted.
Has it been exciting, everything that he told you it would be?
Man, it's been awesome. Oh, man. Like you just said, to go 0-16 last year and to be sitting here in the Super Bowl with a chance to win the biggest game of the season, man, that's been a blessing for real.
Don't take it for granted. It's not just Marino. Randy Moss, I had the pleasure to work with Randy in television. Great guy. One of the 2-3 greatest receivers in the history of the game. He got 2 shots with 2 different teams at a Super Bowl and could not get that ring. And I've had the conversation with the guy. I don't know if haunts him is the right word, but it sticks with him. This is the ultimate prize. I'm a Chicago Bears guy. With all respect to Walter Payton fans, Gale Sayers fans, you Emmitt Smith fans out there, the greatest running back that I've ever seen play the game, the most talented running back I think the game's ever produced is Barry Sanders. And he was so frustrated and grew so frustrated in Detroit with the losing and not even glimpsing this moment that's happening here on Sunday. He walked away from the game earlier than he should. I had the pleasure of writing about and covering to an extent when I was a newspaper guy in Kansas City, Tony Gonzalez. Certainly, as it stands right now, the most successful, the most talented Hall of Fame or tight end in the history of the game. The guy's not a Super Bowl champion. He's never going to be a Super Bowl champion. With every accomplishment he's had, this moment, even the opportunity at it, eluded him. LaDainian Tomlinson, one of the greats that we've seen. That 14-2 Chargers team, that Marty Schottenheimer team couldn't get it done. Bruce Smith is a guy whose greatness on the field, and some of the folks I've interviewed this week, when I asked who's the best player you've ever seen play the game that's not a quarterback, Bruce Smith's name came up a few times. It's not easy to get here. It's not guaranteed. I mean, Bruce Smith went, 1-3 in the postseason. So, and this is for Stoney Michel, too. Who knows how long Brady's doing his thing? For Michel, for Gurley. Sean McVay's a coach. He can coach for 30 more years, but you just never know. For Jared Goff, of course you got to stay in the moment, and you can't worry about the future, but take it in and enjoy it. There's a lot of guys, a lot of teams, a lot of money, a lot of organizations doing everything they can to make sure this moment, the spotlight of the sports world, is focused on them starting next year and the years ahead and not the teams that are here. In fact, one of those guys is Deshaun Watson. Big turnaround for the Texans. That's a team that could get in the way in the AFC side in the not-too-distant future, and I'm really pumped because Deshaun's a good dude. Had him on the show last year before CBS Sports HQ was live. We did a little beta test. It's cool to have him back. Quarterback for the Texans, great dude, national champion. Deshaun Watson joining me on Reiters Block, brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps. When we come back here live from Radio Row in Atlanta, Georgia in just a minute. All right, welcome back into Atlanta, Georgia, Radio Row. It's Reiters Block brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps. And thrilled to be joined by Deshaun Watson. We've had you on the show a few times.
Yes,
You're here
sir.
with Gatorade.
Yes, sir.
You got the special limited edition flavor we'll talk about in a second.
Yes, sir. You gotta have that.
Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you for having me, man.
So I saw a really cool story this morning. I hope you can tell us about it. It's well documented what you and your family went through when you were younger, and folks stepped in and helped make a difference in your life, and you were able to pay that forward to your mom a little bit and,
Right.
and fix up the house. What happened?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to partner with House, and my mom, it's a Habitat home. We've been in it since I was age 12. So about 10, 11, 12 years. And it kind of just needs some remodeling. So, like I said, I partnered up with House and kind of remodeled the whole living room, the whole kitchen, the whole hallways, really the whole house. And made it, up to date. And the things that my mama wanted in her home, that's what she got, and it was pretty cool. It was an awesome experience.
How did you break the news to her? How did you surprise her?
We kind of just put her in an Airbnb. I told her that, I got some stuff that I'm about to do for you. And at first she was kind of confused because she didn't want to leave, but I was like, hey, just do this. I promise you, you're gonna love it. And she, listened to me. And 3 months later, came back home and saw it. It was awesome.
Talked to you this time last year when we were in Minneapolis, a little bit colder
Right.
in Minneapolis than it is in Georgia right now. And we talked about where you were at physically. Obviously, you look great this year. You're back. You've been through some things that have nothing to do with football, some life experiences. How does that perspective help you when you were going through rehab, when you're trying to fight through an injury your first year and get back to the guy that you were on the field?
Right. I mean, that it helped out a lot. It kind of just made me realize that, if I was able to get through some life, challenges that's off the field, that is, life or death. But, the stuff on the field where, it just take me a couple months to kind of get through, and I can get through, the whole rehab and therapy situation. So, and I've done it before once, so I was kind of more mentally prepared and physically prepared to kind of, focus on what I need to focus on to get back to where I needed to be.
How many weeks this year until you felt like you got done with the game, or you look back at the tape and you said, all right, there's the Deshaun Watson, the player I want to be and I know I can be?
It took about 3 or 4 weeks,
Oh, really?
honestly. 3 or 4 weeks where, live action, bullets flying at me reacting on the fly and using my instincts to kind of take over. It took me a couple weeks to kind of actually feel comfortable.
It's interesting. We've talked, and rightfully so this week, and we will talk more about Tom Brady and his excellence. And the conversation has turned to the Michael Jordan comparison. Is Brady capable of being the greatest athlete of all time? And it made me think of your coach, Dabo, who's been on the show 3 or 4 times here on the program, compare you to Jordan coming out of school. Some people rolled their eyes, and then you started to prove them right what you could be. For you, are those comparisons, when people make comparisons to LeBron, Jordan, Ali, whatever the iconic figure is that good for the athlete? Does it put extra pressure? Like, how do you personally view those comparisons for guys like you who have a lot of promise but still have a career to try to forge?
I guess it depends how you look at it. As I looked at it, Coach Swinney knows me. He see the ability that I have, and like you said, Tom Brady. I mean, he's going for his 6th. He's played 19 years. Also, I've only played a year and a half, 2 years. In this league, so I have some time. If I'm blessed enough to play that long, I want to be compared, to Michael Jordan at the end of my career. But I guess it depends on how the athlete takes it. And I didn't take it the way where I need to be that way. I want to be my own person. I want to be, whenever I'm finished with my career and my time, playing football, I want people to be like, hey, I want to be like Deshaun Watson. That's the Deshaun Watson of NFL or football in general. So for me, I didn't put pressure on myself. It was just something that I kind of knew what Swinney was thinking about because I've been around him for so long.
The Texans were injury-plagued last year, yourself included. A lot of the guys healthy this year. Great season. You guys won a lot of games. How close do you feel like you and your team are to being at this event next year or the year after and being the team we're talking about, being the team that's competing on Sunday?
Oh, we're very close. I mean, we're right there. We just you need to find that missing part on whatever it is. We have the locker room, we have the coaching staff, we have the people, the city, the fans. We have everything we need, but we're just missing that one extra piece where it might even be health. Maybe if it's all the receivers are healthy and everyone else is healthy, and we're able to we didn't have that towards the end, especially on the offensive side. Will Fuller was down, Demaryius Thomas was down, Kiki just got back, D. Carter, just new into the thing. Lamar banged up a little bit, so things like that. We're just right there on the peak, and I feel like we can do it next year.
It's exciting.
It is very exciting.
It's cool, right? To know you're in the right direction.
Right, exactly. The arrow's pointing up, so which is a good thing.
All right, so walk us through. I want your perspective from a quarterback's perspective on how you would try to go about putting together a game plan to attack each of these defenses. Maybe start, if you're a part of that Patriots team, as Tom Brady and the guys, Josh McDaniels, look at tape. What do they need to do to try to be successful against a very talented Rams defense?
I mean, you have to pick your poison. They're good on the outside. They're good on the inside. You just have to, try to get matchup plans, and really take what the defense is giving you. You can't force anything downfield. Take advantage of every underneath, move the chains, and, have the defensive linemen especially get them, mixed up a little bit. If it's going to be run, if it's going to be a draw, if it's going to be a pass, you got to switch up the game plan, and I feel like they're going to do a good job of doing that.
All right, so there's few masters as good at putting together a defensive plan as Bill Belichick. We know that gentleman's resume. If you're Jared Goff, if you're Sean McVay, if you're that offense for Los Angeles, what are the things that you need to do, or at least be prepared to do, coming into that game on Sunday?
A lot of misdirection. You got to be able to, the players got to be able to make plays, especially in man coverage. You have to win your matchup. Can't turn the ball over. When you get in the red zone, you have to score points. You can't kick field goals against Tom Brady. It's very likely that you'll have success and win that game. And then you just got to play with confidence and do what you do, honestly.
We're in a generation where quarterbacks are critical. I think it was Patrick Mahomes who had the great tweet about you and Trubisky and the misjudgments people put out there. But the run game's an interesting part tactically of what's going to happen Sunday. Sony Michel's having a historical postseason for a rookie. The Rams' offense is built largely around the run game. How much do you think we'll see each of those offensive coordinators and coaching staffs turn to the run game over the course of that Super Bowl?
Oh, you have to. You have to start off the game with the run game. I mean, you have to really establish the run game and let the defense know that, hey, this is going to be a physical game. We're, going to open up the run game so the pass game can open up and the play action can open up. So you're going to see both teams give the ball to Todd Gurley, and you're going to see both teams get the ball to James White and Sony Michel, and try to, get the run game going.
What do you expect from Gurley after an amazing season and some games that didn't quite live up to that the last few weeks?
I think Gurley's going to play top notch. I mean, this is game of his life, biggest game of his life, and he's basically back home. He's going to be pumped up. I'm friends with Gurley, so I'm going to be excited to be able to see what he do with the ball in his hands.
All right, you're working with Gatorade. I'm looking at, this is a cool looking, and I was thinking, man, I've never seen that before because That's a limited edition, only Super Bowl 53 Gatorade. What are you doing with Gatorade?
Yeah, so Georgia's my home state, so Gatorade is doing the new Peach Blitz edition, which is a very limited, and so we're giving it away this week. And this is the only way it's for Super Bowl this week, so it's pretty cool to have a flavor for your home state.
All right, I see all the Gatorade folks. Don't tell them, but when we're done, I'm here. I'm gonna slip one in my coat right now. Okay, Deshaun Watson, thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
Good luck. Congrats on all your success. Very gracious of you to be here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
All right, we're gonna keep it rolling. Reiters Block brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps, live from Radio Row. We're gonna go inside the numbers on young QBs and young head coaches in this big game when we come back to the program here in just a moment.
Goff facing the GOAT. Jared Goff is 17 years younger than Tom Brady, who won his first Super Bowl 17 years ago. Brady was 24 then, Goff is 24 now, and that's pretty much where the similarities end. A 41-year-old facing a 24-year-old, the largest age gap between starting quarterbacks in Super Bowl history by 4+ years. Brady appearing in his 40th playoff game. Goff will be playing in his 39th game, period. Brady has more than twice as many Super Bowl wins as Goff has playoff wins.
I just like winning.
Brady was drafted 199th overall. Goff was taken first overall, the very first pick made by the LA Rams after moving from St. Louis. Brady's been in the league 19 years and he's had the same head coach the whole time. Goff hadn't even been in the league 1 year when he got a new head coach.
He's a great coach and a guy that I've enjoyed playing for.
The only previous matchup between the two was back on December 4th of 2016. Brady led New England to a 26-10 win at Gillette Stadium. Now Goff is in the Super Bowl, matched up against the greatest quarterback of all time, who coincidentally became the NFL's all-time winningest quarterback with that win against the Rams in 2016.
We're still here! We're still here!
Are you ready for the challenge?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, ready to go. I think you don't have a choice. You better get ready.
A win on Sunday would make Brady the winningest player in NFL history, giving him a record 6th Super Bowl ring.
Welcome back to Radio Row here in Atlanta, Georgia, side of Super Bowl 53. This is Reiters Block on Bill Reiter Show, brought to you by the U.S. Marine Corps. The simulators do end there. Brady's excellence and Goff just beginning his journey. It's going to be, I cannot wait for this game. It's going to be unbelievable. I'm still leaning heavily toward the first half under, but some guys here, some players trying to convince me to go with the over on how many times Brady's going to be sacked. It's at 1 right now. It's going to be amazing. We'll hit some of that the next few days. I do, though, based on, what you just saw, Goff versus Brady, one of the big storylines, want to go inside the numbers on some of the youth versus age in this Super Bowl. And we start with the number 17. We'll give you some exactitudes here. Brady and Goff represented, you just heard, the largest age gap between opposing quarterbacks in Super Bowl history. That age difference is 17 years, 72 days. The next closest, Super Bowl 50, Peyton Manning versus Cam Newton, 13 years, 48 days. The older guy and the less effective quarterback at that point in their careers got the win. How about 33? McVay, who turned 33 not long ago, January 24th, will be the youngest head coach in the history of the big game. The current record for the youngest head coach to make an appearance and win a Super Bowl is held by Mike Tomlin, 36 years old, not that long ago. How about 23? We talked about poor Dan Marino on the wrong list of talent versus Super Bowl championships. Marino was the youngest quarterback to ever reach the Super Bowl. It was Marino's first year starting in the league, in which at the time he broke 6 records during the regular season, including touchdown passes and most passing yards in a season. We'll do 23 again here on Inside the Numbers. Just 8 months older than Marino, Ben Roethlisberger is the youngest quarterback to ever win the Super Bowl. The Steelers handled the Seahawks 21-10 back in 2005, giving Roethlisberger the first of his 2 rings, and maybe counting. 36 next up. Sticking with the Pittsburgh theme, Tomlin is the youngest head coach to ever win the big game when he was 36 years old, when he did it and set that mark. It was Ben's second Super Bowl in which the Steelers won one of the best throw and catches ever. McVay, of course, has a chance to break this record on Sunday by 3 years. And finally, 66, the hoodie, Bill Belichick, will be the oldest coach to win a Super Bowl. He'll be 66 years, 293 days on Sunday. The current oldest winning Super Bowl head coach is Tom Coughlin, with the Giants, 65 years, 158 days. Marv Levy is the only coach to win a Super Bowl at an older age with the Bills in both Super Bowl 28, he was 68, Super Bowl 27, he was 67 years old, but he lost both just to get to the game. It is age versus youth. By the way, we've got NFL honors coming up, the real NFL honors, on Saturday. And in fact, I was visiting with Carson Palmer, who's got a vote. Tell me who he was voting for. Mahomes for the Offensive Air Player of the Year. But we've got our own special NFL honors, the Reiters Block NFL honors. And we've got some special categories for you. Diva of the Year. This one's hard. 2 teammates, which is why the Steelers probably didn't make the playoffs. Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell on there. Jalen Ramsey's on there. And Hugh Jackson, whose name you'll see in a few categories. In fact, we have a Bum of the Year category. And it feels like if Hugh Jackson, and please go vote, Sports Reiter, Sports Reiter on Twitter, where you can vote. Many of you already have. If Hugh Jackson gets 75% of the vote this year, he feels like a lock against Bortles. John Gruden's a strong one. Kirk Cousins kind of feels like starting next year might be the Hugh Jackson Bum of the Year award, named in his honor. Underachievers of the Year is tough, too. You got the Jags, which might get my vote, the Steelers, the Vikings are a really good call, and the Packers. Really interesting. That's a tough sort of one to figure out. So get on, please, Twitter, if you have time. Sports Reiter, Sports Reiter. It's my handle, my last name. And vote for the Reiters Block NFL honors. We got some nice ones on there, too. We're not always mean-spirited. Thank you for being here. We're here tomorrow. We're here Friday. It's a lot of fun. We got a huge crew from CBS Sports HQ. We've got tons of live coverage coming for you all day long from the side of Super Bowl 53, which, as you know, it's on CBS. It's streaming on CBSSports.com. Here on CBS Sports HQ, we've got you covered the whole way. I'm back tomorrow. We've got great guests the next 2 days. Thank you for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. HQ taking over, retaking over, Sportsline a little bit. See you tomorrow. I'm Bill Reiter. Thanks for hanging out.